Hey, friends! Arguably, aside from Rocky, Sylvester Stallone's most famous stuff came out of the 1980s. And it's those movies he's still most readily associated with. But he worked steadily through the next decade, the 1990s. Some of those movies you'll no doubt easily recall, but then there are others that just sort of came and went. This time, we're going to take a look at one of those movies he made in the 90s. The Specialist from 1994. Not to be confused with this movie from 1975, starring Adam West, which is all but impossible to find and has nothing to do with our movie. It is on YouTube, but it's not the best transfer. Anyway, the one we're talking about stars Sylvester Stallone, Sharon Stone, and James Woods. Our story goes like this. Ray Quick, played by Rambo, and James Woods are working for the CIA. They're in Colombia to take out a drug dude. They wire up a bridge he'll be driving over to blow him up. Seems like overkill to me, but whatever. They're ready to throw the switch when Quick notices a child in the vehicle. He races to stop the explosives while Woods sets them off, but Quick was not quick enough and everyone in the car is killed. Because of this, Stallone sees to it that Woods is disgraced and tossed out of the CIA, and Quick quits the agency and becomes a mercenary for hire. Quick is very selective about the cases he undertakes. He uses explosives to kill people, and he specializes in shaped charges, which take out the target without hurting innocent bystanders. Using the power of mini-disc, Quick accesses this secret bulletin board for mercenaries to find clients. And dig those high-end graphics, huh? Anyway, he's considering taking on a job for Sharon Stone. See, these gangsters in Florida killed her parents when she was a little kid, and she saw it all from hiding. She wants revenge. Stallone is uncertain if he wants to do the job, but of course he ultimately agrees. This leads to the mercenary taking down the bad guys one by one, and the head of the crime family hires James Woods to oversee the effort of stopping Stallone. Using his crooked influence over the police department, the crime boss even arranges for Woods to take the lead on the police investigation. Now Stallone and Woods play cat and mouse. Meanwhile, the mercenary and Stone are falling in love. Will Stallone save the day? Will the bad guys get their comeuppance? And will Stone be smoking hot in her 2 nude scenes? Yes. And hell yes! Aside from our 3 leads in our cast, we have Eric Roberts as the son of the crime family, and the patriarch is played by Rod Steiger. Speaking of that nude scene, Stone didn't really want to do it, which delayed shooting. It wasn't anything to do with Stallone, she just said she was sick of doing nudity. But they needed to get the scene shot, so eventually, Stallone went back to his trailer and got some high-end vodka. And after Sharon Stone had a few shots of that stuff, she was ready to go, man, go. And thankfully, she did. And she looks fantastic. Now, despite Stone not wanting to show it off, this movie was beset with several other problems. Actors like Steven Seagal and Roger Moore and directors like David Fincher were all attached to the project but turned it down. The script was written back in the 1980s and went through numerous changes, many of which were not great. And the picture was up against Blown Away and Speed, both of which had much better pyro sequences. And some things just don't make sense. Like, I don't really buy that Sharon here takes up with the bad guy who killed her parents. He's a psycho, and she wants to kill him, right? She doesn't really need to sleep with the guy a whole bunch of times. Just get him somewhere alone, and then shoot him or stab him or poison him or whatever. The movie is based on a series of books by John Cutter about a mercenary called The Specialist. So if this was taken from one of the novels, I don't know, but maybe it makes more sense in print. Anyway, on the one hand, she's a tough cookie, and yet is a victim at the same time. Blame final scriptwriter Akiva Goldsman, future molester of the Star Trek franchise, who is still brutally abusing that once venerable and beloved property. The movie was nominated for several Golden Raspberries, and Stone won for Worst Actress. Regardless, I thought Stone was quite good in this. There's only one scene where she comes off as kind of weak, acting-wise. That's after she and Rambo have makeouts, and she's leaving the hotel and is confronted by Woods. She kind of stammers around and wasn't very convincing there. Aside from that one quick scene, I thought she did very well in the role. And Woods is punished for essentially carrying out his mission to kill the drug lord. That makes no sense at all. That's what he was assigned to do, and he made it happen. I gotta say, James Woods is on a tear in this movie. He's a motor mouth, and I swear he must have ad-libbed half his lines. He was obviously having fun with the thing, maybe too much fun. And Stallone insisted Woods' stuff be watered down so as not to overshadow his character. Fair point, Stallone was the name brand lead here. But yeah, Stallone is pretty much sleepwalking his way through this. Stone is really good, aside from the naked nudity, which is great. And Woods is way over the top. Roberts is okay as the psycho crime scion, and Steiger is very serviceable as the patriarch of the crime family. There are some good pyro scenes here and there, but mostly, this one just kind of drifts along. In spite of everything, it lacks a certain energy it needed to keep it moving. Still, it's Stallone in his heyday. And did I mention Sharon Stone in the shower? But seriously, if you've never seen it, this one is fairly watchable, and flaws and all, it's still vastly superior than anything Marvel has done in the last 5 years. Looking at you, Echo. So I'm giving The Specialist 2 paws up. Sharon Stone in the shower there, I give her 200 trillion paws up. But the movie itself, yeah, 2 paws. Very flawed, but definitely watchable, and probably a Stallone film that slipped off the radar. You take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.